Hello guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. True God in Another World, Tensura x Tbate, by Tempest_King_20. Prologue. Third person. POV. In the Jura forest, nestled within the towering trees, stood a castle, a home to the greatest being to ever exist, Rimuru Tempest. With his lustrous blue hair with a silver tinge and breathtaking golden eyes that could pierce through the fabric of reality, Rimuru was truly a sight to behold. Many titles had been bestowed upon him: Great Demon Lord, King of Beasts, Chaos Creator, Fifth True Dragon, and even Supreme God. It had been many centuries since the Tenma War, and Rimuru had effortlessly become the strongest being in existence. Even his battles with Guy, the Mediator and the first true Demon Lord, failed to intrigue him anymore. Rimuru found that nothing excited him anymore, and the monotony of his daily routine only made everything worse. His mind and heart were numb, and nothing seemed to spark any joy or passion in him. He yearned for something to spark his passion and excitement. Seal, Rimuru Manas, was the only one who saw through the facade and realized that Rimuru was slowly spiraling into despair. She knew that something had to be done before it was too late, and she committed herself to finding a solution to Rimuru's malaise. Despite being a previous skill, she felt a deep sense of sadness and empathy for her master that left her with a sense of urgency. "Master, you should take a break," Seal urged him one day. She had manifested herself from within Rimuru's consciousness and was currently stands beside him. "It's okay, Seal. I still have to finish the paperwork," Rimuru replied with a weak smile as he stared at the endless pile of documents strewn across his desk. Seal shook her head, her eyes filled with concern. "Master, I said you should take a rest. I'll take care of the paperwork." All right, Rimuru relented, shuffling away from his desk and settling onto a couch across the room before powering down into sleep mode. Hours passed, and Seal spent the time diligently working her way through the endless paperwork. Once finished, she approached where Rimuru was resting and gingerly rested his head on her lap. She'd been thinking about what she could do to alleviate Rimuru's ennui, and she had an idea. After a while, Rimuru got up from his slumber and went to the window that overlooked the city, looking out with a sad face. Seal, after seeing her master in such a state, gave him a suggestion for his problem. "Master, how about you take a vacation and go on a trip?" Seal suggested, hoping Rimuru would take her suggestion. "Where?" Rimuru asked, looking down at the manas intently. "Since if people saw me, they would probably bow to me, or pray to me, and that would make me even more nervous." Seal considered this for a moment before replying, "Then maybe you should go to another world. Somewhere where nobody knows you." Rimuru considered this for a moment, his eyes focused on a spot out the window. "But what are we going to do for Tempest?" he asked. "It's okay. I told them beforehand, and we'll make a parallel existence take care of Tempest," Seal replied reassuringly, sensing Rimuru's reluctance to leave his kingdom and people behind. Rimuru considered her words for a moment before nodding. "All right, let's go to another world. Seal my powers and make me a newborn male." Seal nodded eagerly, her eyes twinkling with excitement. "Hi, Master, I'll create a billion times more powerful version of the multiverse residences, with your personality and priorities. As for the world we're going to," Seal started, but Rimuru cut her off. "No, I don't want spoilers. If I know everything about the world, it won't be fun. Let's just reincarnate," Rimuru declared. "Hi, Master," Seal replied eagerly, smiling as she prepared the reincarnation spell. The air around them crackled with energy, the anticipation almost palpable. A bright, swirling light filled the room, enveloping Rimuru and Seal in its warm embrace. Chapter 1. New Life, New Determination. Arthur Pov. I never believed in the whole light at the end of the tunnel folly where people, after experiencing near-death experiences, would startle awake in a cold sweat exclaiming, "I saw the light." But here I am currently at this so-called tunnel, facing a glaring light, when the last thing I remember was sleeping in my room. Others call it the royal chamber. Did I die? If so, how? Was I assassinated? I don't remember wronging anyone, but then again, being a powerful public figure gave others all sorts of reasons to want me dead. Anyway, since it didn't seem like I was going to wake up anytime soon, while I slowly gravitated towards this bright light, I might as well go along with it. The journey seemed to take an eternity. I half expected a choir of children to be singing an angelic hymn, beckoning me towards what I hoped would be heaven. Instead, my vision of everything around me turned into a blur of bright red as sounds assaulted my ears. When I tried to say something, the only sound that came out seemed to be a cry. The muffled voices became clearer and made out a, "Congratulations sir and madam, they're healthy twins." Wait. I guess normally, I should be thinking along the lines of, shit, was I just born? Am I a baby now? But strangely, the only thought that seemed to pop up in my mind was, so the bright light at the end of the tunnel is the light coming through into the female vag. Haha. Let us not think about it anymore. Assessing my situation in rational king-like manner, I noticed, first, that wherever this place was, I understood the language. That is always a good sign. Next, after slowly and painfully opening my eyes, my retinas were bombarded with different colors and figures. It took a bit of time for my infant eyes to get used to the light. The doctor, or so it seemed, in front of me had a not-so-appealing face with long, graying hair on both head and chin. I swear his glasses were thick enough to be bulletproof. The strange thing was, he wasn't wearing a doctor's gown, nor were we even in a hospital room. I seemed to have been born from some satanic summoning ritual because this room was lit only by a couple of candles, and we were on the floor over a bed of straw. I looked around and saw the female who pushed me out of her tunnel. Calling her mother should be fair. Taking a few more seconds to see what she looked like, I'd have to admit she's a beauty, but that might have been caused by my half-blurry eyes. Rather than a glamorous beauty, I would better describe her as lovely, in a very kind and gentle sense, with distinct auburn hair and brown eyes. I couldn't help but notice her long eyelashes and perky nose that made me want to just cling to her. She just permeated this motherly feel. Is this why babies were attracted to their mothers? I peeled my face away and turned right to barely make out the person who I assumed was my father by the idiotic grin and teary eyes he gazed at me with. Immediately he said, "Hi little Art, little Ree, I'm your daddy, can you say Dada?" I glanced around to see both my mother and the house doctor. For all the certification he seemed to have rolled their eyes as my mother managed to scoff, "Honey, he was just born." I took a closer look at my father, and I can see why my lovely mother was attracted to him. Besides the few loose screws, he seemed to have by expecting a newborn to articulate a two-syllable word. I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt and think he said that out of the joy of becoming a father. He was a very charismatic-looking man with a cleanly shaven square jawline that complemented his features. His hair, a very ashy brown color, seemed to be kept trim, while his eyebrows were strong and fierce, extending in a sword-like fashion meeting to a V-shape. Yet, his eyes held a gentle quality, whether it was from the way his eyes drooped a bit at the end or from the deep blue, almost sapphire, hue that radiated from his irises. Well, none of them cry. Doctor, I thought newborn babies were supposed to cry when they're born. I heard my mother's voice. By the time I finished checking, watching my parents, the wannabe doctor excused himself, saying, "There are cases in which a baby does not cry. Please go on to rest for a few days, Mrs. Lewin, and tell me if anything happens to Arthur, and to Rimuru, Mr. Lewin." Looking over to the other side of the bed, I caught sight of my twin for the first time. He was small and delicate, with features that seemed too perfect to be real. His hair was an unusual shade of blue, with a silver undertone that seemed to shimmer in the light. His eyes were a brilliant golden color, like two orbs of sunshine that seemed to be able to see through the soul. As I looked at him, I couldn't help but marvel at how beautiful he was, even in his newborn state. I wondered what he would look like when he grew up, how his features would mature and develop over time. Rimuru Pav, it's been weeks since I was born, and I have to say it took a while to adjust to this body, especially pooping. It was embarrassed at first. But it wasn't that hard. One day I was in a clay body that couldn't even see, so after 2 months I was able to crawl out and explore a little bit about this world with the help of Seal. Yet, before I delve deeper into my adventures, let me introduce you to my beloved family. My mother, Alice Lewin, possessed a gentle and nurturing spirit that reminded me of the warmth and care I had experienced from the likes of Shizu-san and Shuna. Though she often whispered self-doubts, proclaiming herself less than a doting mother, her actions spoke louder than words. My father, Reynolds Lewin, embodied the epitome of kindness, though occasionally displaying a childlike naivety that reminded me of none other than Veldora himself. I couldn't help but chuckle at his amusing antics, such as his unfounded belief that vigorously waving and tossing a child into the air brought about immense joy. And I should thank God it was my brother and not me. Less than, but master, you are God greater than I heard Seal say, but I ignored her. Speaking of my younger brother Arthur, or Art for short, there was an air of peculiarity surrounding him. Whenever our mother changed his diapers, his cherubic face would flush pink, his tiny fingers instinctively covering his blushing cheeks. Curiosity got the better of me, and I prodded Seal for answers. After some discreet investigation, she divulged a startling revelation. Art was reincarnated into this world as me. But before I could pry further, Seal playfully brushed off my inquiries, asserting that spoilers were off limits. Which I didn't complain about because it wouldn't be fun if I knew. From her tone, it was evident that my brother held a significant role in the future yet to unfold. But enough about family dynamics, let's delve into the intricacies of the magic system in this world. In stark contrast to the enchanted energies of my previous world, the foundation of magic here lay in a peculiar force called mana. It was a vibrant, yet inferior, manifestation of magicules, pulsating through the very fabric of this new reality. Adding a layer of complexity, one could only use magic if they have mana core. Unlike the diverse tapestry of magic in my old world, this realm's magic was limited to the elements, fire, water, air, earth, and their corresponding derivatives. Intriguingly, it lacked intricate forms such as light, darkness, time, space, demonic, holy, nuclear, or summoning magic. The mages in this world were divided into two distinct categories, augmenters and conjurers. However, as the purity of mana essence escalated, the boundaries between these factions blurred, merging into a harmonious blend. In the course of my explorations, I unwittingly stumbled upon an ethereal energy, invisible to the naked eye and imperceptible to ordinary senses. Dubbed ether, it radiated a captivating hue of purple and was divided into four distinct aspects: time, space, life, and destiny. These were defined as avum, spatium, vivum, and finally, the enigmatic concept of destiny or fate. Given this newfound knowledge, I eagerly set about awakening my mana core and expanding my mana veins. The thought of recklessness resulting in tragic consequences, akin to the loss of Shizu-san, weighed heavily on my heart. Ultimately, no one should have to fall victim to my weakness. Less than master, you shouldn't blame yourself for Shizuo's death. After all, it was also her choice. She hated the world, so she wanted to die. It's not your fault. Greater than Seal said. I knew that Seal was right, but I couldn't shake the guilt that weighed heavy on my heart. Less than I know, Seal, but I can't. If I had known a solution to her problem and the children's problem earlier, I might have been able to change her mind. Greater than I said, my voice full of frustration. Less than, after all, I wanted to show her the world I had made. Greater than. As I spoke, I felt a warm sensation wash over me, as if someone was embracing me. It was then that I realized that Seal was embracing my soul. The comfort that I felt from her presence was enough to calm me down slightly, but the guilt still lingered. Less than, it's okay, master. Greater than Seal spoke softly, soothingly. Less than I may not quite understand what you're feeling, but you should know I'll support you and always be with you. Greater than. Her words were a balm to my soul, and I couldn't help but feel grateful for her unwavering support. Less than, thank you, Seal. Greater than, I uttered, my voice still unsteady. Less than, I know you will. After all, you are my eternal partner. Greater than. As I gazed into the distance, my thoughts filled with the weight of my responsibility, I made a vow to myself. I will not make mistakes in this world. I will live happily with my family this time, because I couldn't before. I will live without regrets and be the strongest again. My resolve strengthened as I continued my vow. Those who are kind to me and treat my family with respect will be treated with the same kindness in return. But those who dare stand in my way, who mock us and try to harm us, I will crush them.